Hey everyone, welcome back to Charlie Tech. In today's lesson, we are reviewing JavaScript. If you are learning HTML and CSS, JavaScript is the next step that brings your web pages to life. JavaScript adds interactivity, animations, logic, decision making, and real behavior to your sites. Now let's break it down in the simplest and clearest way possible. Alright, so what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a high-level dynamic and interpreted programming language used to make websites interactive. It was created in 1995 by Brendan H. at Netscape. It was built in just 10 days. It was formerly called Mocha. Then it was it was changed to LiveScript and then finally JavaScript. We got the name JavaScript because at the time of um in the early 1990s, Java was the leading programming, so they had to relate it to Java in order for it to gain popularity. So these are the uses of JavaScript. JavaScript is used for web development, whether front end or back end. And then it is a server-side development programming language. It is used for back end. So you can use Node.js or Express.js or any framework that supports back end. It is also used for building mobile applications like React Native. And then it's used for developing desktop apps like Electron. It is used for game development, APIs, and backend services. It has become a powerful universal language that drives most of the modern web. Now, most of the websites you see are built with JavaScript frameworks. So right now, JavaScript is one of the most leading languages in the web. All right, so let's move on to the basic syntax of JavaScript. So when you talk about syntax, syntax refers to the rules that define how programs are written and understood by the browser. So JavaScript syntaxes refers to the rules that define how JavaScript programs are written and understood by the browser. One thing you have to know about JavaScript is that it is case sensitive. You understand? And then most of the times you have to end your statements with semicolons. And then the code executes from top to bottom. So if you want to print out a statement, use the console.log. So console.log is one of the most commonly used commands in JavaScript. So it prints the information to the browser's console for testing or debugging. So this is the format console.log, and then within the braces, you state your value, whether it should be a string or an integer or anything. So let's try something. Let's head on to our text editor. Let me first create a folder. Let me create a folder. Let me name it MGS review. All right. So you save it. Then open your VS Code. Then you open file. Open a folder. And then I stored it in desktop. So I have to look for GS review and then select folder. All right. So let's create a file. So I'll name it let's say first.js. All right. Actually, you can run JavaScript on your local device. You can run it on the web browser, but then if you want to run it on your local device, there's a tool that you can use to do that. You have to use the what do you call it? You have to use a framework called Node. So Node will create a server for you, a local server for you to use it to run it directly on your machine. Yeah, so let's head on to our VS Code. And also you can download an extension called the Code Runner. So you head on to the extension tab. Let me connect my PC to the internet. But first, let me try and give you the basic syntax of JavaScript. So I think by that time it will be loaded. So to print out, you have to use the console.log, and then within it the value. So hello, I love coding. Then let's end it with a semicolon. Then you save it. Let's run it. Start debugging Node.js because I've installed Node.js. So it will directly come here to the debug console. Now let's see, let me use the code runner. So I have to save it, use the code runner, and then it would appear at the the output section. That's if you are using the code runner to run your JavaScript codes, right? So let's try another statement. So console.log I love food. End it with a semicolon and save it. Okay, so one thing about JavaScript is that within the string, you can either use double quotes or a single quote. They both do the same thing, but then I would recommend you to use the what do you call it, the double quotes, because let's say for instance you want to add an apostrophe within something within your code. So let's say um, um, this is Kofi's. Let me use the single quote first so that you understand what I'm trying to say. So this is Kofi's Kofi's book. Okay, so you can see that it's showing an error because it is a single line comment. It's like JavaScript is confused. So in order to add an apostrophe or anything, it is recommended to use the double quotes. So Kofi, this is Kofi's book. So I'll save it, run it, and then run and debug. So let me go to my debug console. So this is Kofi's book. You understand? Yeah. So let me show you what I was talking about. Okay. So go to your extensions and then search for Code Runner. So when you search for Code Runner, I've already installed it. So you just have to think yeah, this one. No, it's this one. So you have to okay, it's this one. Code Runner. The one with C, C++, Java, JavaScript. Yeah. So download this one, the one with the Junhan. You understand? So I've already installed it. That's why I'm having disable and uninstall. So when you install it, you see that an icon. You just close your VS Code and then open it again and then use the run code. You understand? Uh-huh. So let's say you want to use Node to do it. So to do that, you have to go to your web browser and search for Node.js download. Just have to click download Node.js, and then when you go there, you select your device, whether it's Mac OS, Linux, or Microsoft. Then you follow the prompt to download it. When you are done, when you are done, you would so you follow everything and then download it. But then because of time, I would advise you to use the code runner. But let's say if we are trying to use the Node.js, just follow I would add the steps inside the description. So to do that, when you are done installing, just go to your CMD and then run as administrator and then search if it is active. So with that, you write node, then version. So the version I am using is 22.4. So it means that it is active. All right. So let me just close it and close the browser. So let's say you don't prefer what we are using and then you want to run it within the web browser, just create an HTML form. So an HTML file, HTML, and then load your boilerplate. And then within it, let's say hello. Sorry, let me add a p tag. So hello. And then under this I'll add a script. So script, and then within it, I would write my JavaScript code. So console.log basket, then add your semicolon, save it, run it. I'm running it with Chrome. So you can see that the HTML is appearing here, but the JavaScript is not appearing. So you have to go to your inspect. Then within the inspect, you go to this tab. You go to where the console is. So you see that the JavaScript is loaded here. You understand? But I advise you to use the code runner. So let me just delete the HTML file. Let's proceed with what we are doing. All right. Let me save it. So this is how to print out statement with JavaScript. You can either use double quotes, or you can either use single quotes, or you can use double quotes. And one thing about JavaScript too, if you want to add comments, to add a single line comment, use two double slashes. So this is a comment. And if you want to add a multi-line comment, the same way, forward slash and an asterisk, and then this is a multi-line comment. Sorry, my brain is moving faster than my fingers. So let me end it over here. Let me make something here, and then end it somewhere here. So you can see that it is ended. All right, so let's move on to what the next thing we are supposed to do. All right, so let's proceed to variables. So when you talk about variables is simply a box that stores a value you want to use later. So in simple terms, it is a reusable container that stores your data type or anything that you want to use. You understand? It is a container used to store data. You understand? In a JavaScript program. So think of it as a box where you keep a value you want to use later. So variables help you to store user information, save results, reuse values, control logic in your code. You understand? Yeah. So JavaScript has three main keywords for variables. So if you want to define a variable, unlike PHP where you have to start with a dollar sign, with JavaScript there are main keywords that you are supposed to use. You can use the let, you can use the const. Basically, var is an old way of declaring variables. Nowadays, we don't really use var like that. So the most common keywords that's used in JavaScript is either the let or the const. So the let means that you can change the value inside the variable, and then the const, it means you are not changing it. You understand? Yeah. So let's try something. So to declare a variable in JavaScript, should I? Okay, let me create a new file. Let me name it variables.js. All right, so let me save it. So to declare a variable, you would write let's create a variable name, and then let's give it. Okay, let me give it name, first name, and let's say Charles. Let's end it with semicolon. Let's last name equal to let's say Dauda. So let's print it out. So we have to store it in a variable that would add. Okay, let me make it simple. So let me break it down. So let first name, so console.log. So with variables, if you want to print out variables, you'd have to write the name of the variable. And then mind you, the name of the variable should be the same thing inside the console.log. You understand? Otherwise, it wouldn't run. It wouldn't run at all. So let's run it and see. Let's go to run, start debug, Node.js. All right, so you can see that Charles is appearing here. So let me change this to capital F and see if it would work. All right, let me use this. So you can see that it's throwing an error. You see, so the name you use to declare the variable must be the same name you would print out. Otherwise, it will throw an error. Yeah. So let's say you want to add. So with variables, you can add other data types. Can add other data types. So let's say you want to add a number. So let's num equal to 2, print out, sorry, console.log num. All right. So you can see that the name. So as I said earlier on, I said that JavaScript, when you are running, it starts from the top to bottom. Because num is first, I place num at first, so it will run from top to bottom. So let me change num to the second place, Control plus X, and then let me paste it, save it, run it again. You can see that Charles is now first because Charles has been declared first. You understand? All right. So that's it for. So let's try and use the const as well. So let's say const. Let's say you can use it for a formula. So let's say formula for an area of a circle. So let's say const area is equal to, or let me make it pi, because pi is fixed, it can't be changed. So const pi is equal to 3.14. You understand? So let's say I want to console out pi. About in a meet pi. All right, let me run it. All right, so you can see that pi has been displayed over here. Now let's move on to data types. .js. Okay, run. So let's move on. So data types tells JavaScript what kind of value a variable must hold. You understand? So this is basically telling you that it is telling JavaScript that it should tell the kind of value it is holding, whether it should be a string, a number, a boolean, a big int, a symbol, undefined, you understand, etc. So in JavaScript, we have two main categories of data types. We have the primitive and the non-primitive data type. So the primitive data types include strings, number, boolean, undefined, null, big int, symbol. And then the non-primitive data types are objects, arrays, etc. All right, so let's move on. So let's start with strings. So strings are basically state anything you see in quotation marks, whether single quotes or double quotes. So let's try something. So let's create a variable. Let's name, or let's first name equal to coffee. Let's second name equal let's say let's think of a name, Donko. All right. So we have to create a variable that would um, add the coffee, sorry, the first name and then the second name. So we have something called a string concatenation. Concatenation. I don't know if the spelling is right. Nation. All right. So with that, it allows you to add strings together. to form a sentence. All right, so let's say you want to print out Kofi Donko. So with that, you have to store it in a variable. So let's name it data, or let me make it const. So const data, made a mistake. So const data is equal to first name plus the second name. Understand? Then print out. Sorry, why am I writing print? So console dot log. Let's say data. So let's run it. So you can see that Kofi Donko, but you can see that it is together. So to do that, you have to add what? A space. So to add a space, you basically have to state two um, quotation marks and then add a plus again, and let's save it and see if it would work. This should work. So you can see Kofi Donko. Let's see if I can close it and it will still work. All right. So you have to add a space in between it so that it would create a space for you. All right. So let's create another one. Let's change, or let's make a sentence, maybe okay, let me add school. So let me make it UPSA. All right, so let's data equal to first name. Let me add another. So I'm adding a string to it. I'm forming a sentence, or attends. Let me add a plus over here. Attends, and then another space, and then plus school. All right, so this should work. Let's run it. So Confident Donko attends UPSC. I think I had to add something here, a space here also. Actually, there's a simple way to do that, but we'll get to it later on. So let's run it. Kofi Donko attends UPSC. You can see that this is the data. It is the data storing or adding the variables, adding these strings. So this is what you call the concatenations. You understand? This is what you call the concatenation. This is what you call the concatenation. So keep that in mind. Concatenation is basically adding variables, or sorry, adding strings together to form a sentence. Or yeah, that's what is meant by concatenation. Now we have another way to do that. So you let me comment it out. We have something called the template literal. So the template literal is basically the easiest way to print out variables to form a sentence. So to do that, you have to add console.log, and then you don't have to use the normal quotes. You have to use this symbol over here. I don't know what it's called, but then when I find it and I remember, I would tell you in the video. So to do that, use that symbol and then write let's say you start with, to declare the variable, you have to start with a dollar sign and then two curly braces. Then you write the variable inside, then add another one, another, then within it you add second name. So Kofi Donko, then let's say we add attends and then another one, attends school. I hope it works. Now let's save it and run it. So you can see that it's working. Kofi Donko attends UPSC. So this is the easiest way to go about it. It is called the template literal. All right. It's called a template literal. So you can add strings using concatenations or a template literal. It depends on what you want to do. So let me uncomment this and then remove this comment and then save it and then run it. So you get two statements. All right. So you can try something. You can try your hands on it. So let's talk about numbers. So numbers are basically the numbers, We have the integers, we have the floats. Yes, we have the integers and then the floats. So the integer is basically a whole number. You understand? Basically a whole number, and then the float is decimal points. Anything you see as decimal is a float. So with whole numbers, for example of whole numbers, maybe a variable of age, maybe the year you were born, maybe a number of items you have bought, you understand? And then the floats are decimal. So basically maybe your weight, your height, maybe centimeters of something, the price of something, your GPA. So let's try something. So to do that, we have to let's say let age equals to 20. Understand? And then let's create a sentence. Kofi is 20. So let's use the string concatenation first. Then we use the template literal. So let's okay, data has been already been declared. So let's user you can declare two or more variables. Always keep that in mind. So user data is equal to first name plus space plus um, let's say it's age. So plus age, and then let me it's 20 years. So space and then add years. All right, this should work. I think I had to add a plus here. It is quite confusing. That is why they upgraded it to template literal. So console.log and then user data. So let's run it. Let's save it. So Kofi is 20 years. Right. So let's add a GPA. So a variable of GPA. Let me add it on top or below it. This. So let's GPA equal to. So we are dealing with float 2. So let's give it like let's say 3.4, 3.8. So always keep that this is an integer and then this is a float. Anything you see as um so float, anything you see as a decimal. So let's create maybe Kofi GPA is 3.8. Then it's a shark. So let's go. So let's uni data. Let me add a space here. Okay, so with variables, you don't have to create a space. If you create a space, it would give you an error. So to add a space, you have to use an underscore. You understand? Yeah. So uni data equals to first name plus what else? Let me add a space Kofi has a GPA of plus has a GPA of space so of GPA. So console dot log unit data. Right. So Kofi has a GPA of 3.8. So let's use the template literal for the other one. So to do that, we have to console dot log, then this, so first name, sorry, I had to declare it with, so first name, hold on, let me clear it. I think I'm not supposed to do it here. Okay, yeah, it's here. So first name plus um Kofi, and then is is and then age is yes. So let's save it, run it, and see. Let's comment this out. Then let me comment this one too out. Save it, and then let's run. So Kofi is 20 years. You understand? Yeah. So let me remove this comment and see something. So this is the concatenation. So this is the template literal. So let's use the template literal for this as well. So console dot log um $sign, and then the variable, the name of the variable is first name, and then has. I forgot to add the symbol. So with that, first name, then has a GPA of GPA. GPA. Save. This should work. It's not a big problem at all. Yes, Kofi has a GPA of 3.8. All right. So that's it. So let's move on to the Boolean. So the Boolean. So Boolean simply means true or false. So anything you see as true or false is a Boolean. You understand? Yeah. So let is online equal to true. Let it's online equal to true. So let's console.log is online out. It should work out. Hold on a second. Let me save it, and then running it should work. All right. So let's run it. Oh, how? So um, let me try and debug this. Let me think about something. Hold on a second. Let me check through. All right, so um I don't think it would come because we haven't. It is basically used for logical operations and then anything related to comparison. That is why. So actually, to use boolean, you have to use it along with logical operators and then comparison operators. So let's skip that for now. So actually, booleans are basically true or false. And then we have a data type known as the now. So what the now does is that now actually means not defined. You understand? So let's say Nick be now. You understand? So console.log let's say Nick console.log Nick. So it is giving me now. You understand? Yeah. Let me add a type of um, type. So type of means we want to know the, what do you call it? The the type of data type. You understand? Yeah. So um, think so let me run it. It's There's an error. I think I have to remove this. Let's save it. So all right. So because it's not defined, it is giving us an object. It will automatically give us an object. Yeah. So let me just remove the type of here and then give it here. Let me bring it the unit data. So type of unit data. So let me save it. You see that unit data is a string because we are working with string. You understand? Yeah. Let me add type of GPA console.log type of GPA. Save it. It's giving me a float. It's a number. Okay. Because it actually gives you the data type. So it is a number. So let me just remove it. All right. So what's the next thing we have to look at? We have something called the undefined. So undefined means you haven't defined um a variable. So let's say let total equals undefined console console.log undefined. Right. So this should come. Okay, so it's giving me undefined here. Understand? So type of undefined, so I think it will give you an object. Okay, it's still giving me undefined. All right, so that's it for variables. So the next thing we are going to move on to is operators. All right, so operators are symbols that performs actions on values or variables. They allow JavaScript to calculate, compare, assign, or make decisions. So JavaScript has five main categories of operations. We have the arithmetic operations, we have the assignment operations or operators, we have comparison, we have logical operators, we have ternary operator, and then we have the type of operator. So we would start with arithmetic operators. So let's move on to our VS Code and then type, let's give it operators.js. Uh, so you would declare a variable. So the with the arithmetic operators, we have um what you call the operations. We have the plus, minus, multiplication, we have division, we have modulus, we have the power. And then I think so these are the basic operations in JavaScript. These are the basic operations in JavaScript. So let's come here and then declare a variable. So let num equals to, let's say, 20. So we are starting with addition. All right. So let's number equal to 20, and then let another number um equal to, let's say, 40. So with that, you have to, why is it showing an error? Let me see where the problem is coming from. Okay, let me give it num1. Okay, I've declared it twice. So let me make it num1 and then num2. All right, so with addition, you can add with whether you want to add with whole numbers, floats, or anything. Yeah. So let's add them. So you have to store them. So let's say let's add equal to or let me make it sum. So let me give it sum to num1 plus num2. Then what we have to do, we have to console out the sum. So this would give you this is where the calculation goes on. You understand? So let me run it, save and run. Node.js. So it should give me 60. Let me make this 30 or 60 and 40 to give me an answer of 100. All right. So let's move on to multiplication. So let's product. I'm using the same variables. So let's product equal to num1. So with the multiplication, we use asterisk. So let's, and then num2. So it should multiply. So console dot the log product. So let me save it. So it should give me 2,400. You understand? Yeah. So let me add subtraction. Let me make subtractions over here. So um let's say subtract equal to num2 1 minus num2. So console dot log subtract. So this should work. So it will subtract to give me 20. You understand? Yeah. So let me give division. Let div equal to num 1 and then num 2. All right. So console dot the log div save and then run 1.5. It's give me 1.5. And then make this 100 and then make this 20. All right. So these are the basic operations. Now let's move on to let me write some comments so that you get what you are doing. Um, Here will be product multiplication. Multiplication. And then we have the division here. Now let's move on to the modulus or the remainder. So the modulus operator is very useful for checking if a number is even or odd, or determining how many times one number fits completely to another number. So let's see, let let me create a modulus. So let's um total equal to what we call 17. Let me make it 15, and then let divisor equal to 5. All right. So let's remainder, because we are dealing with remainder. That is why I make it remainder. So total. Uh, so this is what you use for the modulus. You use a percentage sign, and then the remainder. And so the divisor. Right. So let's console out console.log remainder. It should give you an answer of I think 3. Oh, yeah. Okay, 5. Okay, 0. Because there's no remainder. There's no remainder. 5 will come fit in 15 and would leave no remainder. So let's say 17. It will give you, I think it will leave a remainder of 2. Okay. Yeah, so 2. You can see 2 over here. All right. So let's talk about the exponential operator. All right. So let's give it a base and then an exponent. So let's base equal to 4, and then let's exponent equal to 2. So let's result equal to base um, exponent exponent console.log the result. Let's save it, run. It should give it 16. Understand? So this is the base and then this is the exponent. So here to be like 4 raised to the power 2. Understand? Let me change this to 3. Or yeah, so it will give you 16. I think so. 64. 64. All right. So 4 raised to the power 3 is 64. So 4 raised to the power 4, 256. Okay. So let's move on to assignment operators. Okay, let's start with increment and then decrement. So these operators give or are used to increase or decrease a number or a variable by 1. So let's say, let um, a equal to 20. So a plus plus, so console dot log a. Let me run it. It gave me 21. So whenever you see plus, it means that you are giving it plus 1. So let me give decrement. So let b equal to 20, b minus minus, console dot log the b. So run, it give you 19. So this is minus 1. So we have something. If you, let's say you want to add by 2, first of all you have to declare a variable. So let's say a is equal to, let's c equal to 20. So you add c, and then I think a plus and an equal to sign, and then 2, then console dot log c. Give me 22 because I'm saying that I should add by 2. Let me make this 10. So always remember that. So 30. So this one I'm saying that it should increase by a specific number. So plus and equal to. You understand? So let's say I want to decrease it. So let me copy and paste this, and then paste it here, and then change this to D, and make this D. And then let me decrease it by 10. So D. Let me change the value. Let me make it 40. Let me save it, run it. Let me change this to minus. Right. Right. So you can see that it has been subtracted by 10. So we'll be using these increments and then decrements mostly in loops. So we'll use them more in the upcoming tutorial or within this tutorial. All right. So let's move on to assignment operators. So when you talk about assignment operators is related to the equal sign. So if you want to assign something, you would assign it with one equal to sign. This is just the simple assignment. So when you see this one, it means assignment. You understand? You are assigning it to a value. You understand? So this is an assignment. You've assigned 100 to the variable num1. You understand? Yeah, and then this is what we call the simple assignment. And then we call something called compound assignment. So they are used to perform arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication. Actually, you can also multiply it. Okay, so this is what you call the compound assignment. So with that, this thing, this is what you call the compound assignment. You understand? So if I can change it to multiplication, I should do. Let me run it. Give me 200. You understand? So they are used to perform operations. So this is what you call the compound. It can be division too. It can be a remainder. It could be exponent. You understand? All right. So And we have something called a strict value. That one we'll be using it in the upcoming videos. That one, it means that we assign it strictly to a specific number. So we'll be using it in statements, conditional statements, and what we'll be looking earlier. And then we have something we call the comparison zone operators. All right. So when we talk about the comparison operators, they are used for making decisions. So they are basically the comparison operators. The less and then a greater than sign. We have the less than or equal to. You understand? We have the so let's try something. Um, so we'll be using it for comparisons. We'll be using the what do you call it? The comparison operators. So let's say we'd be using it for the maybe true or false, those boolean, and then yeah, so we'd get used to that. And then we have the ternary operator. That one we use it in the if and else, so we get to know about it. And we have logical operators. The logical operators too. We have the and, we have the or, and then the not. So we'll be looking at it to at the conditional statement. All right, then you let me just teach it right now. So the logical operators are are used to combine or modify Boolean values. They are essential for creating complex conditions in control flow structures. So let's talk about the end. So we have the end, we have the or, and then we have the not. So these are their symbols. This is for end, this is for or. Um, sorry, let me change the keyboard settings. And then this is for not, an exclamation mark, and then an equal to sign. All right. So let's talk about the end. So the end operator returns true only if both operands are true. So if two values are true, it will be true. So let's say let is adult equal to let's say age less than or equal to 10. I think would actually use it in the because it's mostly used in if and else statements. All right. So let's move on to conditional statements. So conditional statements allow your program to execute code only if certain conditions are true. So we have something called the if statement, the else statement, the if else statement. We have the switch, ternary operators, and the nested conditional statement. So we'll be looking at them one after the other. All right. So, but before that, let me explain certain concepts too. So, with the logical operations, I'm coming. Let me change. Let me make you understand certain things. So, let's start with the logical operators. So, let's say I want to compare certain things. I want you to get a better understanding of what we are come to do now. So, let's say you want to compare x, y, and z. So, let's say let x equal to 7. Let y, let me just declare it on one line. So y is equal to let's say 8, and then let's say z is equal to 9. So let's group them in results. So let's result do the comparison. So let's result x is greater than y. Okay, this should give me that true. Hold on. It's giving me true because yes, 7 is greater than 7 is hold on, I'm coming. Sorry, I made a mistake. Result. All right, so this will give me false. Yes. So yes, it is true because x is less than y. But here I said x is greater than y. So it will give me false because it's not true. You understand? So let's say I make it will give me true. So this is how to deal with the what do you call it? The comparison operation. So as I said, this is for less than, this is for greater than, this is for less than or equal to, this is for greater than or equal to. And then we have something we call the strict equal. You understand? And we'll use it later in the video. So this is how to perform basic comparison. So you can play along with it. So let's talk about the let's see the conditional statements. All right. So we have the if, we have the else, we have the else if, and then yeah. So let's start. So let's see. Um, let me give a little bit of explanation to. So the conditional statements allows you to make decisions. So let's say you have to give a, let's say age is equal to, let's say 20. So if age is greater than, let's say 18, console dot log um, an adult. So to print out an adult, you understand? Yeah. All right. So let's start with the if statement. So the if statement is the most basic control structure that executes a block of code only if the condition inside the parenthesis is true. So let's say you want to create um, a decision that if a temperature is greater than 30, it should execute or should print out a hot day. So to do that, you write a variable. So let temperature equals to, let's say let me give it to 30. And then so if temperature is greater than 25, console dot log temperature, or let the weather is hot, right? So it is printing out the weather is hot. So this is how to write if statement in JavaScript. Now we have something called the 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 else statement. So the else statement, if the condition is false, it would print out vice versa. So else, sorry, it will print out the false statement. So else console dot log, the weather is good. The weather is good. So let's save it. Let me change the value of it to 20. So run. So the weather is good. So because it is writing the weather is good, because here I specified that if the temperature is greater than 25, it should write the weather is hot. So if it is even what do you call it, 9 let's say 22, because it is not suiting the what do you call it, the what I stated here, it will print out the false statement. You understand? So still it is giving me code. But then if I print out more than or greater than 25, so let's say 30, it should print out hot, because that's just what it is true, because it is true. You understand? That's what I've specified over here. So let's say I want to create whether um, a user can enter a site. So the site should check if the person is older than 18. It should allow you to enter the site. But then if you are less than 18, it shouldn't allow you. So to do that, let's say let age equal to 20. So let's say if age is greater than 18, it should console.log console.log um you can you can enter the site, right? So and then else console.log you are not eligible. So this it will check. Okay, so it will check if the user is greater than 20. So since the user is greater than 18, you can enter the site. So let's make this, what do you call it, 17. 17, you can't enter. You are not eligible. You understand? So we have something called a if else statement. So the if else statement allows you to execute one block of code if the condition is true, and completely a different block in the condition if it is false. So let's say that I want to say that if a user is, what do you call it, um, if the user is greater than, let's say, or less than 10 years old, if you say that you are too young. So to do that, let's say I come here and then I write else if age is less than 10. then console.log mock, you are too young. So always end your statement with a semicolon. All right, so giving me an error. Why? I think I placed it together. All right, so run. You are not eligible. Now let me make this the 9. So if you want to give multiple conditions, you can use the else if. You understand? Yeah, so let's say that if the person enters an age less than 0 or equal to 0, you understand? You should say that your age is invalid. So to do that, so if, let's say else, if let's say age is less than or equal to 0, you should print out invalid age. Sorry, invalid age. So let me give it, I think, 0. Okay, so the reason why it is given is not coming. I'm coming. Let me see if I can fix this. Okay, let me just remove this from here. Invalid age. Let me just make it less than 0. Then let me see if I can. Yeah, age is less than 10. You are too young. All right, so I think there's a problem. So I'll just fix the code and then place it inside one of the comment sections. So you can, or you can, if you can also send your code, you can also send it so that we can. Yeah. So let's say you want to create um if you want to create a program like to show that it is even or an odd number, you have to use a modulo. So let's first declare variable. So let's make it 10. Let's number equal to 10, and then if let's say number modulus, let's say 2, then strict, it doesn't give any remainder, or it gives a remainder of 0 or leaves no remainder. It should console dot log this is odd number. All right, so sorry, and then else um, you should give console dot log um, this is an odd number. So let me just change this to even. All right, so this is an even number. You understand? So let me try something. I want to play around the code. So that's how to write or to differentiate if a number is odd or even. So let me change this number to 11. It's an odd number. You understand? Because of the calculation here. You understand? So let me try something else. If number is divided by um, 3 and leaves no remainder, it should say that it's a multiple of 3, 3. So else um I don't even know if it will. I'm just playing with it. Console dot let's say this is okay. So let me just make this 15 and see. This is a multiple of 3. Let me make this 19. This is an odd number. Alright, so great, it worked. So let's say you want to create a program to differentiate multiples of 3 and even numbers and odd numbers. This is how you'd go about it. So this is all about if else statements. Now we have something called a ternary operator. So it's just a simple way of writing condition. Alright, so with the ternary operator, it's just a simple way. So to do that, let's say to make a simple form. So let's say age is equal to 20. So you first have to declare variable, then you'd write if um, um what should I even write? So I think I have to write let age equal to, let me make this to num. Let me make this result. So to do that, you have to um write the variable and then the percentage, because you are making the calculations, is equal to 2 mod num mod 2 and then leaves no remainder, and then you would end with a question mark and then write this is an even number. Then you create a colon. This number is odd. So console.log results. So we'll save it. Let me comment this. So this is just another way to write statements. It's called a ternary. Let's save it. And then, so this is actually taking the if, and then this is taking the else. You understand? It is being separated by this. You understand? But if you're not comfortable with the ternary operator, you can use the if else statements like that. All right. So I think we'll look at the switch. The switch also works like the if and else, but then it's slightly different. So to use a switch, the switch actually evaluates an expression once and then compares the result against a series of case values. So let me create a switch. So to do that, let's say I want to write. Let me come here. Let me save it and then come here. I'll just give you the structure of it because you can either choose to use the switch. You can choose to use the if and else, and you can choose to use the ternary. So with the switch, let's say you want to create, let's say a schedule like an alarm. You want to wake up at a specific time. So let's say you first have to declare variable. So let day equal to, let's say, Monday. Then so first have to write switch, then write the day, the name of the variable, and then you'd use the curly braces and then write your case. So the case is actually the the possible value the expression might have. You understand? Yeah. So case, let's say Monday. Let me give it Monday, and then you separate it by this colon and then write console.log 7 a.m. So Monday you want to wake up at 7 a.m. Or let me make it Monday. Then you would end it and then end it with a break. So the break means it should stop and then continue. Understand? So let me add the rest. Tuesday and then the rest. So C, then paste, 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 paste. So let me just change the values here. Let me change this to Tuesday. And then let me make this Wednesday. And then Thursday. And then Friday. Friday. Saturday. So 7 a.m. Let me make this 9 a.m. Let me make this 12 p.m. Let me make this 5 a.m. I would make this also 9 p.m. And then this almighty Saturday, make it 1 p.m. So let's save it. And then console.log a day. All right. So Let me run it. Monday, 7 a.m. Let me just remove this because it's not really necessary. Let me run it again. So Monday, 7 a.m. So let me change this to Tuesday. So it will actually give you the time that you wake up. So Tuesday, see that 9 a.m. And then Wednesday, it will give me 12 p.m. You understand? All right. So this is how we deal with the switch statement. All right. So we would work. Let's move on to the loops. So loops are used to repeat blocks of code multiple times automatically. So for instance, let's say you want to print out hello 10 times. You have to write console.log hello 10 times. But then it would become very, very, very tiring. So that's when loops comes inside. So loops will allow you to repeat a block of code multiple times automatically. You understand? So they are useful when performing tasks like counting, iterating through lists, or running repetitive actions. So anything that deals with repetition, we use loops. So there are many types of loops in JavaScript. We have the while loops, do while loops, for in loops, for of loops, and for each loops. So in this section, we are going to learn about the while loops and then the do while loops and also the for loops. These for in loops and for of loops and for each loops are used in objects and then arrays and also lists. You understand? Yeah. So to let's create a file. This is a review, that's why I'm not really going to details. Loops.js. All right. So let's start with the so with let's start with for loops. So with the for loops, it is the most common and powerful loops. It is perfect when you know exactly how many times you want to run the code. So for example, we are iterating over an array. You understand? Yeah, so this is how to use the for loop. So we write the for and then let's declare a variable. So let's give a variable of I, end it. Let me give it 0. Let's end it. And then I is less than 5. Then I plus plus. I would explain it to you. So console.log. I. Alright, so this is what we call the initialization. I set it to I is equal to 0. So it is the counter. You understand? It is basically the counter. So I'm saying that the counter should start from 0. And then this is what we call the condition. So I set a condition that it should be less than 5. It should end at 5, and also it is checking for this one. It is saying that the initialization is less than 5. You understand? Yeah. So anything here should be less than 5. Anything here should be less than 5. It could be 1 or 2. You understand? So I set it to 0, and then this is actually the final expression, the decrement or the iteration. So I'm saying that it should add by 1 by 1 by 1. You understand? So let's run this. So you can see that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because it should end at 5. Let me make it less than or equal to 5 so that it will end at 5 exactly. So it would end at 5. So this is how to use the for loops. You understand? Yeah. So let me see if I can add a string here. This is an iteration. So mind you, if this is this initialization is greater than this, it will cause what we call the um an infinite loop. It would run and it will never stop. So make sure that the initialization is matches with what we have here. So you are saying that it should be less than or equal to 5. So I'm saying that here should be 0, it should be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4, but it shouldn't exceed 5. You understand? Yeah. So let's see if this would work. Um, uh, Save and then run. So this is an iteration. So this is what would happen. You understand? Yeah. So let's try something else. Let's try something else. So at this one, you can actually make it add by 2, but let's just leave it for now. So let's work with the while loop. So you see, this is for loop. Let me comment it out. So the while loop executes a block of code as long as a specified condition remains true. So it checks if the condition is true first before it runs. So with the while loop, so let's count equal to 0 and then write while, and then within the while open bracket and then count, and then let's say it should end at 5, less than or equal to 5. So console dot log count, and then I'll write my iteration. So count plus plus. All right, so you can see it's starting from 0 and then it will end at 5. So this is where it will start. So let me just change this to 1. So it started at 1. You understand? Let me see if -1 will work. Yeah, so it started from -1 and then yeah, so this is how to deal with while loops. So make sure that this number doesn't exceed the condition you've set here. This condition does two things. It specified where it should end, and then it specified which number should um start. Sorry, which number it should be equal to. You understand? Yeah. Now let's try the do while loops. So this is how to write while loops. Let's try the do while loops. It is basically the same, but just that the do while loop executes the block of code first, and then it later checks if the condition is true. So to do that, write let um, count be equal to 0, and then when you are done, write do console dot log um, count, then count plus plus, then below this you would write your condition. So while let's say count is less than, sorry, greater than or equal to 5. So let's save it. So this should work. Okay, so what happens if you decrement it? So let's say you want to create a count that from 5 to 1. So you have to, let me comment this first. Now you have to change both the condition and then the initialization aspect. So to do that, let's say that it should start at 10. And so this one will be less than or equal to, it should be greater than or equal to let's say 15. So I think then you make it a decrement. So let's run it and see if it will work. Um, let me see something. So why isn't it working? Hold on, I'm coming. Let me check what's wrong. So let me make this 5. And then is that equal to 0. Let me see if this would work. Right, so I am saying that it should start at 5 and end at 0. Let's say if I make this 15. So it will start at 15 and then end at 0. You understand? Yes, so that's how to go about it. So you can play around the codes as well. Now let's move on to functions. Yeah. So functions are reusable blocks of code designed to perform a specific task. They help you avoid repetition, logic, and make programs cleaner. A function is like a machine. You give it input or parameters and it processes it into something and returns the output. So in JavaScript, sorry if I'm moving a little bit fast. This is just a review, that's why I'm going very fast. Alright, so to declare a function, you have to start by writing a function and then the name of the function. So let's say greet and then open a parenthesis and then give it a parameter. So anything you see within this is called a parameter. And then you create a curly braces and then write maybe something like console.log, the name of inside the parameter. So name, you understand? Then you'd come here and let's say if you want to, so we are assigning the name of the parameter to let's say um Kwame. So here we are saying that this greet name, the name should be assigned to this variable. Understand? So let us run it and see what it would say. So it will print out, I think, Kwame. So let's say you want to greet, so hello Kwame. So hello, then um, plus then the name. So let's run it. So hello Kwame. All right. So this is how to write a basic function in JavaScript. Now we have something called a function expression. So to do that, we use um, that means that we are making calculations. So with that, you have to use the what do you call it? The return keyword. So you write function and let's give it calculate area, and then I gave it width and height. I'll give it width and height. All right. So within it, I'll return width and height. I'll return a calculation instead of using the console dot or giving it a variable. So height, and then you would end it here, and then you'd give it. So let's give it a variable like let area equal to. So I would make the calculation over here. So calculate area. So the first parameter is the width, so 5, and the second parameter is the height, so 8. So let me console dot log out the area. Let me make a small letter. Sorry, console dot log area. So we'll save it. So you can see that it is giving me an answer of 40. So this is how to. This is another way to declare a function. So this is what you call the parameter. You understand? And this is returning the parameters. I'm saying that it should calculate. You understand? Yeah. And then this is the argument. This is what we call the argument. All right. We have another way of writing functions. It is called the arrow functions. So let me try and see if I can use it. So let's say we are creating a multiplication function. So let's say const multiply or multiple, and I'll give it equal to them a and b. I'll pass a parameter a and b, and then equal to sign, and then a less than symbol, sorry, greater than symbol, and then open it, return a multiplied b. Here I am saying that it should multiply a and b. You understand? So I'll come down here. So I'll create a variable to store the calculation. So let's product equal to, and I'll pass the argument multiply multiple, and I'm saying that a should take 3, and then b should take let's say 4. Then I'll console out the product. All right. So 12. So we're saying that 3 times 4 is 12. All right, so this is what the arrow functions are used for. Arrow functions are mostly used nowadays because when you are doing React, most of the components you'll be using would be the arrow function based. Yeah. So when you start learning React, you will see more of the arrow functions. All right. So let's move on to objects. So objects are one of the most important data structures in JavaScript. They allow you to store data in key value pairs, making it easy to model real life entities. An object is a collection of properties. So the property is the data, and then we have a method. A method is a function within an object. You understand? So an object is basically like a database. It is mostly used in non-relational database like JSON and then other non-relational database like MongoDB. You understand? Yeah, so let me make object.js. So this is how to write an object. You give it, you declare a variable. So let's say car, and then so an object is like you are giving it like a data. You understand? So this will be let's see the year of the car, and then let's say 2024 or 2020, and then the model is civic. All right, so let's make console to log uh, car. Let's see something. So you can see that it is giving you the properties of the object. So this is the name of the object car, and these are the properties. You understand? Yeah, this is the value, and this is the key, and this is the value. You understand? So this is how to deal with objects. This is how to deal with objects. So let's create another object, maybe um a school. A school would have teachers and then students. So let me say there are 200 teachers, and then students. We have let's say 14,000. Yeah, let's say 2,500 students. No, it is school. All right. So yeah. So this is how to deal with objects. It's actually um serving as a database, and then within a database we have other properties and then its values. You understand? Yeah. I won't go deep. So let's move on to the next thing. Arrays. So arrays are collection of values stored in a single variable. These values can be strings, numbers, booleans, or any kind of data type. So they allow you to store and manage a list of data. So to do that, you have to declare a variable. So let let's say fruit equals to a square bracket, and we have banana, and apple. We console out. So you can see that it's giving me apple, banana, neglect pineapple. Let me save it, run it. Right. So this is how to declare an array. So arrays have methods. So let's say you want to add something to an array. So you basically have to write fruits. Um, Always understand that arrays are accessed by indexes. So here will be 0, here will be 1, and here will be pineapple. So let's say if you want to print out a particular element from the array. So let's say you have to write console.log, I think fruit, and then a square bracket, and then 0. I want to get the first element. So save it. Run. It will give me an output of apple. I want to get the second one. So 1. Um, so to give me banana. Always remember arrays are indexed by numbers. So 0, 1, 2. And then let me see if I can add an extra 1 so that it can be 3. Let me see Gava. All right. So let's say you want to add another um you want to add another element into the array. So first have to write out the name of the array. So fruit, then we specify the index. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to add the fifth element. So I'll give it, let's say, um, pawpaw. And then let's consolidate out fruits. So we can see that a new one has been added. So that's how to. So let's say you want to replace something. So the same way, let me clean this. So fruits, and then specify. I want to replace the first one. So 0. So equal to, let's say, mango. Mango. Console.log fruits. Let's run it. So you see that it has been replaced with mango. All right. So arrays have what we call some methods. So these methods allows you to update or modify your array, such as adding and removing. You understand? Yeah. So we have the pop, we have the push, we have the slice, we have the we have the shift, we have the unshift, we have the unshift. So um we'll go through it one by one. So we first start with the push. So the push is actually um 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 adding a new element into the array. So to do that, you have to make it like, let's say, fruits dot push. So with that, I'm saying that it should add something to the end of the array, the element inside the array. So let's say that I want to add, let's say, pair. So console dot log fruits. So you can either use the push method or you can use by index. You understand? Yeah. So you can see that pair has added to the end, but this one basically adds an element to the end of the elements in the arrays. Do you understand? All right. So let's try the pop. The pop actually deletes the last element. So let's say console. This is how to use it. Console dot log fruits dot pop. Yeah. So this should work. Consider. Hold on. Um, fruits dot pop. It's been a long time since I used this. So you don't have to access the index because it will delete the last element. So let's say console dot log um, fruits. Let's save it and then run it. So it would give you this. You understand? The reason why it's giving me purple is because I've added something. Let me just move so that you don't get confused. Let me save it inside. All right, this should work. All right, so let's talk about the unshift. The unshift adds a new um, element to the beginning of the array. So fruits dot um, unshift. So let's say we want to add in the first one. We want to add um, what fruit, um, grapes. So run it. You can see that. Let me add console.log. Let me just copy this and then paste it here. Save it and then run it. So you can see that grapes has been added to the first the beginning. So you are saying that it should begin with grapes. You understand? So you can either use by the index or you can use by the methods that I'm giving you. So let me just remove it. Let me just leave it like that. Let me just place it here so that so the shift is actually adding a new element to the beginning of the elements. So you can see grapes, mango, apple, banana, pineapple. You understand? So this is actually adding a new element to here. You understand? Yeah. So let's talk about the shift. The shift removes from the beginning. So let me just copy and then paste it here and then remove the un over here and then you have to remove this because it knows that it is deleting the first element, so you don't have to specify anything inside it. Then console.log, let's save it and then run it. You can see that the first element, which was grapes, has been removed. You understand? Yeah, so the grapes has been removed. Right, so let's say you want mango to be removed, so let's just copy and paste it and then copy and paste this one as well. This should work. And you see that mango would be off. All right, so as you can see, mango is off. right? So we have that's it for arrays. Actually, you can add functions into arrays, you can add objects into arrays, but this one we are just revising for the exam, so I don't want to really go deep with that. So you can actually research. So I think this brings us to the end of the JavaScript review. So we covered everything from syntax to variables to operators, all the ways to loops, and then we ended at arrays. So make sure to practice along and also build on whatever you've learned. So if you have any questions or you have any suggestions, please drop it in the comment box. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the next series. See you in the next one.